You're on.
Okay. I'd like to call the January 6, 2025 East Manchester Township Board of Supervisors meeting to order. We're going to not do the pledge since we had a previous reorganization meeting at 5 and we did the pledge at that time. So is there anyone like to amend or approve the agenda at this time?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any discussion on that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the minutes, we had a road meeting, which our road meeting is that it was advertised. Anyone that would show up on that date that it was advertised, it was December 9th. And we went out and reviewed our roads and we took minutes. The Public Works Director took the minutes. So those minutes are in front of you now. Is there any questions or additions or corrections to the minutes?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of December the 9th special road meeting as presented.
I'll second the motion. Discussion.
Yeah, one discussion. There's
Okay.
one typo in the second paragraph. The word dispense, shouldn't it be dispensed?
Second paragraph.
It should have been plural, dispensed of all formalities.
It's the only thing that jumped out at me, sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking for it is all.
It's the second paragraph says Chairman Naylor dispense. It should be dispensed. Kristen, sorry.
I found it. Yep, nope, you're good. I just couldn't find it. I got her.
I will make my motion as amended.
And I'll second the amended motion. Now, any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now, we had a regular meeting on December 10th, 2024. Those minutes are in front of you. Any additions, corrections, or questions on it?
I do have one comment. Let me make sure which page. It's on page 1 of 6 under Emergency Services Report. It's the third sentence in, starts out with, there is a fine structure in place to charge the businesses that have frequent false alarms. But I was under the impression that it's both businesses and private property. At least that was my understanding.
What's the official word there, Christy?
Oh, I don't know. Chief Stevens, this would be in your section when you guys were talking about those false alarms. When you guys do a civil complaint, do you do the civil complaint for only businesses or for private property as well?
You have to turn that on, Chief.
On the side, right here.
Here, Chief.
On this side, you got it? On the speakers, yeah. Push that button in and then hit the space here.
Dead center there. Yeah.
Touch it.
Yep.
Don't see any red there.
No. There you go.
There you go.
All right. It's Christy messing with me. So to answer your question, we do both commercial businesses as well as residential. The sheer fact is we don't get that many residential automatic fire alarms.
Okay.
And the ones
So
that we do get, they service it right away and it's not an issue. It's not an ongoing issue.
It almost happened to me.
Right.
Yeah, and I just wanted to get it clarified in here because I didn't want the minutes to go out to say only businesses.
Right.
I have
I mean, most of the problem is with the residents, as you know.
Yep.
You just get tired of us showing up and it's
do.
never
You
an
do.
opportune time and it's your alarm going off and disturbing your peace at home,
Well,
so.
the troubleshooting was the issue.
Right,
'Cause I
right.
didn't know what I didn't know until you guys showed up. So, thank
But
you.
yeah, so the residents tend to take care of the issue quicker than businesses.
Thank you, Chief Stevens.
So the minutes are reflected correctly?
Yeah, I'm fine with leaving it the way they are.
Okay.
then, based on that discussion.
Oh, okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented then.
Okay.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, that great segue to you coming back up to the microphone, Chief. We'll get,
Hey, real quick, just so you guys know, I can't really hear Chief Stevens at the podium. And I just wanted to give you that heads up that if he does say anything, for me, just reiterate it to me, okay?
So you have my report. I don't really have anything to add. She still can't hear me? Because I can hear me.
Can you hear anything, Christie?
it's fine. He has nothing to add to your report, and he's going to ask us if we have any questions.
I do not.
Thank you, Chief. Now, we revert back to missed public comments. Any public comments at this time? Okay, thank you. York County Regional Police Report. Daryl? What did we,
I don't have anything to report.
there's nothing really to report.
Yeah.
The merger with Spring Garden is ongoing. We're very, very close. It's going to take a couple months to cross the Ts, dot the Is, but I think it's imminent that we're going to merge with Spring Garden in the near future. Okay, the ordinance 2025-1, that is authorizing the township to sign the necessary documents to merge with, and I'll read some of it. The Board of Supervisors, East Manchester, we're going to enter into an agreement for the creation of the York County Regional Police Department with York Township and Windsor Township as the founding charter municipalities, which will merge with Spring Garden Township, which will also be a charter member in the future. So this is ordinance 2025, it's duly advertised, is that right? So do we don't need a hearing for this, do we? No. So I'm gonna make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 2025-1, and that is East Manchester going in charter with the Spring Garden Township.
I will second that motion.
Any further discussion on this? Discussion is that Spring Garden is going to vote on this in February. They did not advertise it last month, so they will be enacting this February, so they'll be the last to sign. So them being the last to sign will start the clock for those 150 days that we need to get everything done for. So with that, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. And hang on a minute until we sign all these necessary papers. Okay. With that, we're going to move on to 5.3, Northeastern York County Emergency Management. Mike?
I did submit a report. There is nothing additional to that. If you wanted to move on to 5.3-1, John Marmarco was the Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator, and he has since submitted his resignation for that position. And I have a certificate for him that was signed by Supervisor Naylor and myself, thanking him for his service over the last couple of years as a coordinator.
Well, John has been with the EMA for a long time. He got me into the fold. I was his, I think, deputy. I was under his wing, so to speak. And those were back in the TMI days and everything. So John deserves a big thank you from everyone in his community for what he's done. So I'd like to thank him personally, and I'm sure the rest of the board feels the same. And I think we will be doing something in the future for John. So
Thank you. Any questions for me?
how's it going? Everything going okay?
Everything's going great. We finished up the radio install here in the EOC, so everything's up and running with that. So we'll be moving forward with some training and doing some further adjustments to our plan.
Are you going to be in attendance in the January 14th meeting at the high school where
I'm going to try and make it, yes.
yeah, I'm going to try to make it as well, Parent University.
Correct.
That has to do with security of the schools. So I'm hoping that fire departments got notified of that as well. Aware of it by other meetings. I hope you attend. Should be interesting. Thank you. Okay, takes us to special requests. Christy, do we have any special requests?
No special requests.
Okay, correspondence. We got something from the York Adams Tax Bureau. They will no longer mail out individual annual or quarterly estimated income tax return forms to save on costs. Electronic postcard notice to all employees from York Area Tax Bureau is on the township website under news. So that's going to be broadcast on our website, I'm sure.
Yes, it's already there. Yep.
Just one question I have, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
If I read this thing correctly, it says payments are made via ACH debit directly from your bank account. I guess I'll need to call them because I have a personal problem with that. But that's just me.
Well, there's been issues with a local borough
I
not
understand.
receiving their funds.
I understand.
And it ended up that the borough has responsible for half of that, which is not right.
I understand. I'm just saying that's me. That's all that jumped out at me was the fact that they're requiring, so pretty much anybody that has, you know, if you're on Social Security only, you don't need to worry because you don't need to file. But if you have any other employment that you get a W-2 for, you will need to file for that. So I've got to believe there's a bunch of folks that might be in that situation that, one, don't have internet access.
Yeah.
So just saying, that's the only thing that jumped out at me. I'm sure they did their homework or whatnot, but when I saw that, my issue is I just don't like people tapping into my bank account.
Don't blame you.
But that's me.
Anyone else have anything to say about that? Okay, solicitor's report.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Nothing crazy this time around. The first item is the zoning amendments. As you can see there, we were recommending waiting until we hear from the Planning Commission on details and what their comments may be before we go back and make a couple of revisions that we already have. So if the board is acceptable with that, we'll just table that until February until we hear more details. Do you have any questions, I guess, about that, or is that?
We do have questions about that, and we are in agreement to push that off a month.
Great.
At least.
Okay. Is there any questions you want me to address now, or maybe take down that I can bring up, or you just want to wait until next month? Is that what you're thinking?
I think in the interim, we need to have discussion with our planning commission.
Okay.
and our staff on roadside stands
Right.
and agri entertainment and that sort of stuff.
Right.
So we have differences of opinion.
Sure. That's fair. Okay. We'll keep it on the back burner then for now. The next item is the general code amendments. They've been properly advertised as well, so they could be up for motion and adoption if the board would consider that. If you have questions about it, I'd be happy to talk about that as well.
We made one change,
Okay.
and that was not listing any permit fees for roadside stands. Not even 0, just not listed as.
So what we did was we adopted the fee schedule as presented with the exception of roadside stands. We eliminated that.
Okay.
It was $5 in there, and then we said no.
Okay.
We are hoping that if we do decide to have a permit or have a fee for a permit or no permit, it would be in the ordinance, spelled
Right.
out in the ordinance.
Right.
So everybody's clear on what we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Herb, was there a discussion on that or on the roadside? And I think the comments were that the planning commission was not in favor of charging a fee. And then there was discussion on what qualifies. Okay, we want to visit that issue and have a round table or something.
Well, sorry to interrupt you. I was just double checking the ordinance. The roadside stand is underneath the zoning amendments. So this code amendment is a different set of items that's being addressed here. So, and if you're not familiar with it, it's the recreational board having a quorum down to 2 members, a permitted fire language being changed, and then some stormwater language being changed. That was what is addressed in the code amendments that we're talking about here with 2025-1.
2025-2.
Thank you, Chrissy. Yes, 2025-2.
And this was duly advertised for tonight's meeting. And I did take these code ordinances to the planning commission, the township planning commission in December, and they didn't have any additional comments or changes or anything for that, just so that you know.
Some of them, I mean, you can read over them if you want. They're not substantial changes by and large, granting more time to get stormwater plans in place, for example. Some of the language, what's included underneath a stormwater plan, mainly broadening the language to say any regulated earth activity is one of them. So they had, kind of some funny language in there before. And so, yeah, it would not be touching on the dicey issue of the roadside stand this time.
Okay, I am sorry, you are correct. This is other things. This has everything to do with fire pits and ceremonial fires. I wanted to make sure that we weren't getting so stringent that you couldn't have your barbecue on your deck lit.
Right.
And we're not.
Right.
So we have to have some common sense in here. And the changes that are in there, I didn't see a problem with. Did any of the board members?
I did not.
No.
It's,
I had one citizen call and ask about the burning. And they just wanted to make sure we were not regulating that they could not have fire pits.
yes. And we're not. We're not as stringent as the borough. And I understand the borough needs to do what they need to do in a close proximity there. So, yeah, I was remiss. This does not have roadside stands in it. So with that being said, I want to make a motion that we adopt resolution 2025-2.
It'd be ordinance 2025.
Ordinance, I'm sorry.
It's
I
okay.
say that wrong every time.
It's okay. I just want to keep it clear. That's all.
Ordinance 2025-2 as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? Anything from planning that we need to be aware of there or anything? Nope, okay.
Christy, I don't know if you were told, but Herb Nix is in attendance in the audience.
Oh, yeah, I can see him. I see you.
Okay, with that, I'm gonna call for the vote. All in favor of, I'm sorry.
Just because you're going through that kind of logistics stuff, I was on the meeting earlier, and just so you know, can't hear you at all, and barely can hear the two of you. The only one you could really hear was Christie online.
Volume.
But I think too, is when you're speaking, you're turning your head to speak to each other.
Yep.
You're not speaking into the mic.
Okay, I turned the mics up. So I'm going to call for the vote for that ordinance number. All in favor of the ordinance, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me, to get back to my report. Last in the ordinance realm, the NORS ordinance that was being considered, we received a quote from a gentleman that Attorney Miller has had experience with in other projects, with some, with good success. He provided a quote for his services that you can review. I was told that Byron was going to be getting a second quote as well from another expert in that field. I have not seen anything from, I wasn't sure he was going to be here tonight, so I didn't reach out to him. I don't know if the board wants to wait until we have that second quote to make a consideration here, or how'd you like to approach that?
I would like to suggest, I don't think we need a motion, I'd like to suggest that we review this quote, hopefully get another quote and address this in February or March. It's not pressing, and I just think we need to have sound study person on retainer, more or less. So
Sure.
my recommendation is to table it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It'd be good to get a second view of it as well.
Okay.
Duly noted. That's what we'll do. Moving on, I don't have anything in the canal betterment project. I was told that there was a phone call on Friday that Shane was on with, along with Attorney Miller, where they were basically discussing in the future around, I guess, the March, perhaps April timeframe, that they might have detours ready to be brought to your attention to review and approve and walk through what that would look like. I don't have the exact details on what those were, but right now it's a little inchoate, and it'll be a couple months until that comes before you.
Okay. We'll be looking forward to it.
So we have that. The other items on here, I don't really have any major updates for as far as the pending plan agendas. I mean, if the board has questions, I'd be happy to answer them to the best that I can. But to my knowledge, there haven't been any major updates in that regard. There are, just for the board's consideration as well, there are two other items that are litigation related. If the board wants to break for executive session, we can do so and discuss them. But bluntly, there aren't any major updates there. So it probably wouldn't be too big of a deal. It's up to you guys.
Okay, so you were saying that we should have executive afterwards?
If you'd like to. I said that there's really not any updates there. If you just want to be updated on what's going on with those two matters, I'd be happy to do so. I'm well aware of them. I'm handling them. So
It's been a while for some of these. I'd like to be refreshed if.
No
the rest of the
problem.
guys, yeah, okay.
happily.
Thank you, Tom.
No problem. Yep. And that's everything I have right now. We answered a couple questions from the zoning officer that I was involved with as well. Nothing major there either. Again, I could update the board if they would like an executive session.
Okay,
That's everything I have, Mr. Chairman.
okay, thank you. Moving on to our engineers report. There is a request for a surety reduction. And this is, let me get to 9 point.
Yes, Triple Crown Corporate, oh, go ahead.
There's a recommendation to reduce the surety for Triple Crown. And upon receiving the engineer's recommendation, Attorney Lang, you're going to have to help me out here. I think I'm going to motion to not recommend surety reduction at this time.
So basically, in a nutshell, Triple Crown Corporation requested a surety reduction to be reduced to $28,487.15, which apparently includes the 10% contingency. And Byron disagrees with their request and says that he recommends that the surety not be reduced as requested, since the remaining sidewalk to be constructed is 738 linear feet and the remaining seeding and mulching is 2 acres.
So that's different than what they're claiming that it is. So,
Correct.
So I make a motion that we do not act on the Triple Crown surety at this time.
I'll second that.
Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Let's go down over, Garrett property is, they're working. You can hear them. I can. Sheets construction is going good. I understand through reading these minutes for the, that the old Sheets building, once the new Sheets has occupancy, they will be demolishing the old Sheets building. Is that correct, Christie?
I did talk to Bob Franks, who is their representative for Sheets. He did mention demolition, but he was not very clear on what they're going to demolish. I've seen it where, you know, someone else buys it and utilizes the existing structure, but depending on the use and what they're proposing, might need to go through land development. I'm almost certain what they're really getting rid of is the underground tanks. But yes, those minutes are pretty accurate in regard to their plans to vacate the existing Sheets as soon as they get occupancy, and they're proposing in the spring of this year.
Wait and see.
Wait and see. Okay. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Takes us down to anything on Byron's report you need to discuss, Christie, with us? Site applications for Dellinger Road.
Oh, yes, yes, okay. So, wait, for the Dellinger Road,
Yeah, 400 Dellinger Road.
what's
It says
What's that?
we have reviewed the site applications for completeness. That's in the plan review.
Oh, so those are just, in his report, that's just like some of his reviews that he did for if Kate had something that he needed to review for stormwater purposes, or if they were doing anything for land developments or sketch plans or anything like that. But what Byron told me was he didn't really have any additional updates besides what's in his report because of the holidays. So he doesn't have, anything on any of the HOPs yet, and that he will be prepared to give you an update in February.
Okay, that's fair. AmeriCold's coming in soon, February, March? I
Yes.
heard, yes, okay.
And in fact, their engineer just reached out to me today to sync up on what he needs to submit in order to make that happen. So yeah, they're definitely going hard, and we are getting ready to record their drop lot. That would have been recorded before the end of the year, but county denied their plan. County does weird things sometimes, but basically they needed to go fix the plan, and now we're going to record it sometime in the near future.
Did Byron mention anything to you or Shane about the 5225 North George Street where they stormwater management and they ran into some, no, that was 5205 North George, sorry, where the subsurface drain field? And is that going to pull us into anything?
He did not talk to me about that. I think he went out and met with him on my last day at work before I went on vacation for the holidays. And I did not get a chance to ask him about that, but I'll write that down to talk to him.
Okay. Does anyone have any other questions or anything about the engineer's report?
No,
No.
I did not.
And let's move on to the sewer minutes. I don't see your name there, Dean.
No, I haven't, I actually haven't been able to make it down over the past 2 months because of other commitments. But reading through this stuff, I mean, Area 2's not moving forward as we discussed and they told us. And, you know, they provided their budget in here and looked through it. I didn't see anything
Okay.
strange or out of the ordinary.
I didn't either. So do you have anything, Darryl?
No.
So their budget is for review and it was adopted. Moves us on to Kate, your report.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to the zoning officer's report. I did want to speak on the assistant zoning officer's report. If nobody else had questions about my report.
I do not.
I do not.
No.
Okay, so the thing with the assistant codes officer was for the junkyards. Me, Lauren, and Christy all went out and did inspections. Both of those properties removed a lot of cars this past year, and they're both still trying to decommission their salvage yards. And we recommend approving their 2025 license. Codes officer was for the junkyard.
Whoops.
Christy, you still with us?
I am. What happened was I pulled up our live stream and I forgot that I was not muted and it came through for a second.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure everything was still working.
So do we have to take action on the junkyard licenses?
Yes.
I can make a
Definitely.
motion. You ready, Christy?
Yes.
I make a motion to approve both 1277 Conowagga Creek Road and 509 Jerusalem School Road for 2025 license per staff recommendations. That would be for the junkyard license.
I'll second that motion.
Are you going to do them individually? We have two, right? You did, John?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, did both.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Anything further, Kate?
I don't have anything further.
Okay, thank you, Kate. Now, if I'm correct, that takes us to the volunteer services tax program. Am I right?
Yes. So the reason why I added this to the agenda is because when I was going through the ordinance and creating my procedure and my application and all of that good stuff, and then with that, I was communicating with York Adams Tax Bureau, Kathy Emswaller, and Jen, our accountant, and I came across an issue where right now, as the ordinance states, a volunteer fireman can qualify for both the real estate property tax local and for the local EIT tax. And they're not allowed to exceed $1,500 for each category, and really, they can't exceed $3,000 total if they qualify for both. So the reason why this is an issue is because we would be issuing real estate property tax checks in like April. And remember, this is for the previous year. So for 2024, we would be issuing the rebate or refund in April of this year. And then I have to issue a certification to each of those applicants, who then would submit that certification, as long as they qualify, of course, to or with their tax returns when they file. And the problem is the York Adams Tax Bureau will not monitor that the applicant is not to exceed the total cap of $3,000. Granted, it's going to be difficult for somebody to meet that $3,000. The more likely of somebody to go over would be through the EIT. But once again, they're still capped for $1,500. After having a very thorough discussion with Attorney Miller, Kathy, and Casey McCleary with York Adams Tax Bureau, we decided it would be way easier to just get rid of the $3,000 total cap. And Kathy did tell me that no one in this township, maybe one, would, and she's going to double check for me, but she said it would be a very slim chance that anyone would even meet the $1,500 threshold for real estate taxes, and or for the refund, really. And as it turns out, Mark Schroyer has recently brought to me that there's other changes that maybe should be addressed in this amendment to the ordinance, if you so wish to entertain it.
I think we should table this till next month.
Yeah, get us the possible changes to that, Christie, and we can discuss that. And we'll certainly, if it's feasible, we'll act on it in February.
Okay, very good, I will. Mark, if you don't mind, can you just email me those, like where those changes should be? Even though through mine and yours conversation, regardless of what I said, if you think that you'd like to see it gone or stricken from the ordinance, go ahead and give me that list, and then the board can discuss it in the meeting.
Yeah, he'll set up a meeting with you. He's shaking his head in the affirmative.
Okay, very good, thank you. That's all I have for that.
Okay. So it takes us down to any questions for Shane's report?
None for me.
I'll just report, we went out at 4 this morning and salting and plowing and everything. The crew is wonderful. They communicate well. They talk about, the streets are hit and what needs to be done next. Do the primaries first, then you do the secondary routes next after that. It's very efficient operation. I'm proud to be part of it as a part-time.
Well, they did an excellent job as usual.
Yep. And it's very hard to predict, all day long. They were changing the weather forecast and, getting snow or not getting snow, or we're getting this amount. So, but I think they made the right calls today, and they went home at 4:30.
Okay. Sounds good. There are no subdivision and land development plans in front of us this evening. It leads us up to supervisor comments. Dean?
Nothing for me this time.
Darrell?
I don't have any.
I don't have any at all. I'd like to motion that we approve and pay all bills.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now, there's two ways of doing this. We're going to recess or adjourn the meeting. If I adjourn the meeting, then we have to report next time that we had an executive session. So if we recess the meeting, we go into executive session. And I informed the audience that we will not take any action after we come out other than to adjourn. So then I don't have to remember to, okay. So I'll make a motion that, first of all, thank you all for coming on the treacherous conditions we have out there according to AccuWeather. And appreciate you coming. And I'll make a motion that we recess to executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then, Daryl, you're just gonna keep me on for
Yes.